In this video, I would like to show a possible way of making a sort of sketch type image, be it a pencil drawing or ink on paper type drawing, just using the channel mixer adjustment. Now, in this particular version, I've left a little bit of color in here, where the outer edges it's more like a pencil drawing, and this one here is more sort of like maybe like an ink on paper type drawing. I probably could have lowered the opacity a little bit more just to make that look a bit more like a pencil drawing, but this is just done using the channel mixer. Now, I would like to say that this way does not work with every image, but I've got two different paper types which I'm going to put this on. But as I was saying, it doesn't work with every sort of image. It works quite well with these ones because there's a lot of contrast in that. There's a lot of dark and light areas, and it's fairly simplistic, whereas some images, especially if there's a lot of detail or there's not a lot of contrast, it cannot always work the way you want it to. So it wouldn't be a be-all and end-all of doing this sort of type of image, and there are plenty of other ways to make a sketch-like image, but this is just a variation on that theme. So to get started, I'm going to use this image again, and I'm just going to copy this. So I'll right click the background and come to copy and come to this paper texture. This is a texture I got off of a CD on one of my magazines, so I can't give you a link to this, but all the other images I can give you a link to those because they all come from Pixabay.com. So that link will be in the description for this video. So first thing I'm going to do is to come to the edit menu and paste this image in. Now this is a bit too big, so I'm going to come to the move tool. I've zoomed out so I can see the size of this, and I'm going to hold down the control key and I'm going to resize. Holding down the control key will keep everything in proportion. I believe that is command on a Mac, so you just hold down the control or command key and then click and drag out a corner. So I'll press Control and 0 to resize that. So you just place your image on the background. It doesn't have to be a paper background, you could put it on wood, stone, whatever. Obviously some backgrounds will work better than others with certain drawings. So once we have our image here, we now need to add the channel mixer, which you do from the adjustments button here. You can do it from the adjustments tab, but I prefer to keep the layers visible. So I'm just going to click on this adjustment button and come to channel mixer. Now before I make any alterations, I'm going to click and drag this channel mixer down and into this background layer, so it's now part of that background layer. So I'm only affecting the background image layer, but not the background texture layer. So the channel mixer works in much the same way as the channels tab, in that it will select sort of either red, green, blue channels to make alterations to. Now I find, me personally, this works best from the alpha channel. You can use the other channels maybe to tinker around a bit with certain areas, but starting off I use the alpha channel, and I do also change the blending mode to hard mix. Now that's pretty terrible at the moment, but I have found that this works quite well in the end. but also that some of these blending modes are pretty much very similar, but I've found that starting from hard mix works quite well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to see what it looks like moving the alpha slider up and down. As you can see, it will either remove everything or it will sort of bring everything back. So first thing I'm going to do is sort of start taking the colour out of this, and as you can see, it's already starting to look like a sort of pencil drawing. And quite how much colour you want to take out, I mean, if you take out pretty much all the red, green and blue, and you can sort of just nudge the offset up a bit just to bring back some of that darker lines rather than the grey than it was before. Now, like I said, if you want to keep a little bit of colour, you can always just nudge back one of these sliders or more of these sliders. It's really up to you, but I'm going to take out in this version pretty much all the colours. There's just a hint of red on that car and the lights, and a couple of people got a very slight hint of blue, but I will leave it like that. And just to show the different blend modes, some of these will have little, or like that one there's negation if you want to keep certain colours, and average. A lot of these will not have that much difference to the hard mix, which is what I sort of start with, but you can look for a style or slight colouring using different blend modes. But I'm going to leave mine on hard mix, and once you're happy you can close that down. Now the next thing I'll do is I will get the eraser brush tool. I'm going to have the opacity roughly, it's on 68%, but roughly around 70%, but have a hardness quite low, mine's on 4, and I'm just going to, better make sure I'm on the layer, which I do keep forgetting to do, and I'm just going to erase away the edges of this, so there's no sort of like really definite straight lines, so you know, it makes it harder to sort of guess that this was a photograph originally, even though everybody knows it will be, but just to give it that sort of drawn feel to it, and then just take away the edges slightly. So there we have that. That's the first one, and then this one particularly looks a bit more like sort of a pen and ink type drawing, whereas I think the first time I did this on a test, I personally think it looked more like almost a pencil drawing. Quite how far you take that, it's up to you. I mean, you could lower the opacity of this particular layer, and just to sort of give it that more grey pencil feeling to it. So that is that one. So let's have a look at the motorbike one. So like before, I will right click this and copy it. This time I'm going to come to a different paper texture, and I need to change the orientation of this. So first I'm going to come to document and rotate clockwise, and then I'm going to edit and paste in my image. Now this one is pretty much the same size as my paper, so rather than reduce the size like I did before, I'm going to increase the size just to fill up the whole paper. So much like before, it's add the channel mixer, move that layer into the image layer, and change the blend mode again to hard mix, which is there. Go on to the alpha channel, and then just start by removing a lot of the color. You can then look at the alpha slider on just how much of that image you want. And again, you can use the offset to, now before this looked more like a pencil, ink and on paper type drawing. I'm going to try and make it look more like a pencil drawing, but make it a bit lighter this time. That might be a bit too light. I'll just nudge it up again slightly, and then close that down. And then what I'll do is I will crop that just to get rid of this background. So there we have your sort of more pencil type sketch on a piece of paper image. Now I'll just quickly hide that for now, and I'll use the same background, and I'll demonstrate with this picture here, which is why I think, you know, it doesn't work with every image. Now this is a cracking picture. I mean, I wish I had taken it, but the only problem with it is there's not a lot of contrast. I mean, apart from the dark trees, everything is pretty much at the same tone, and it's all either green or sort of white blue. There's not a lot of difference, so we will try it with this image. Which one is this paper? And I will just paste that on, move this into position. I'll just resize it slightly, like so, and then add the channel mixer, move that layer into that image layer, come to the alpha channel, start off on hard mix, drop out all the colors for now. Right, so I mean, if I bring back some of the red, as you can see, it's only really affecting those trees. If I bring back the blue, you do get a bit of the corn or wheat or whatever it is. Most of it will be in the green section, but if you bring the green up too far too quickly, you're just bringing back colour, which for the purpose of this video is not something I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get a pencil or ink type sketch. Yeah, in the other channel you can lose or bring back a lot of detail quite quickly with a very little bit of movement, and the same goes for the offset. So although you could get a certain image you know, using this method, I don't think it would end up being a satisfactory image. You're just losing too much information, and it's very hard to find a point where I personally was happy with it. You could possibly try different blend modes. It might work better in a different blend mode, but I personally don't think you would have much luck because of the lack of real detail in the image. So, like I said in the beginning, it doesn't really work with all images. You need to sort of try it with your image you want and see whether it works, and if it doesn't work, you'll have to find a different way to turn your image into a sketch. So that is it really. Hopefully it's been of some help to someone. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.